So legacy and meaning.
Mm. Okay, as I said last time, I'm not, I haven't looked at the questions, so I have no
Hmm.
idea what to expect.
I
But
just read through them before this.
really,
Yeah.
okay, so kick us off.
I want to skip like all of them.
Do you want to
Um,
skip? So can we maybe start with just understanding what is your general view on legacy?
I don't really care for it. When I'm dead, I'm dead. I'm not gonna know what happens after that. So yeah, I don't really
And
have anything that I want to leave behind or
and what do you make of people who who feel strongly that legacy is really important and that they want to leave? I don't know. They want their name on a building or a hospital wing or a library or something like that.
I mean, I just don't really get it because they're not going to be around to know what effect that had on anyone or I don't know.
Hmm. Well, that's more or less in line with my personal view about that as well.
Yeah.
I don't get the concept around legacy. You know, the importance of doing things now so that you leave something behind later.
Yeah.
Now, whether that is your work ethic, whether that is a library, or whether that is a whole bunch of money, or I don't know. I don't understand why that is. Shouldn't we just do things because we want to do them now
Yeah.
and we derive some pleasure or satisfaction from it?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't
Okay,
get
so
it.
we call bullshit on
Yeah.
legacy.
Legacy.
So I think if you're uh, for example, Elvis left a phenomenal legacy.
Hmm.
But I don't think he started out going, for the sake of legacy, I want to
Yeah.
make this music. The
Yeah.
same with the Beatles or Jackson Pollock or whoever, famous artists, etc., and so on.
Yeah.
So I think we refer to what their body of work that they leave behind as their legacy.
Yeah. What about Steve Jobs?
Exactly.
Yeah. He just wanted to
So,
make the world simpler, easier, better for people. I don't know if he was thinking about how he was going to be remembered for it.
yeah, I mean, he famously said that he wants to leave a dent in the universe. Or,
Hmm.
okay, so what does that look like? Um, anyway, so I, I honestly don't think that the real successful people think about legacy, what people are going to say about them a generation or two generations further
Hmm.
while they are doing what they're doing now. Okay, cool. Right. So why do you want to skip?
I don't know.
What does leading a meaningful life look like to you? I'm sorry, it was just the first question that I read now. You don't have to answer that. If happiness was the national currency, what kind of work would make you rich?
Gosh, I don't even know what that means. What kind of work would
Wow.
make you rich?
I think
Um,
that is a different way of asking, have you found your passion in life? Which is another
um,
bullshit question. So,
yeah.
in other words, if happiness was the national currency,
Mm-hmm.
what kind of work would make you rich? What would you what makes you truly happy? It's another way of asking what makes you truly happy. If you could do what makes you happy, what would you be doing? Hmm. What do you still want to learn or understand better? That's a more meaningful question.
Yeah. Um. I mean, I wish I could learn everything and understand everything, but I can't. Um.
The answer is 42, by the way, so I can save you the trouble.
The answer is 042. The answer of the universe.
Yes,
The question of uh,
yes.
what's it called? What's the name of
Hitchhiker's
the
Guide,
book? Thank
Hitchhiker's
you,
Guide to the
Hitchhiker's Guide to the
Galaxy.
Galaxy. Thank you.
I should probably read that again. It's been a
I
while.
haven't read it. I've seen the movie,
Really?
but I haven't read it. I do need to read it.
Okay,
Yeah.
just listen
Um.
to the audiobook. But look, that is a very interesting. What do you still want to learn or understand better? Hmm. I want to say people, but I don't want
I
it
was
to be
gonna say the
confused
same
with,
thing.
I don't want it to be confused with I'm interested in psychology
Yeah,
or,
but it's like what makes people do the things that they do and think the things that they think, and
look, I have some, obviously I have some theories about some of these things, but look, um, relationships are so important, all kinds of relationships and so
mm-hmm.
on. And it is the cause of so many of the, I don't know, problems that we have to deal with, like other people, even on international kind of out of our normal sphere of influence, just
Mm-hmm.
think about on a national level or an international level, politics, that sort of thing. I was thinking this morning, I was starting to make notes for my next, I've been thinking, and I, we have lost complete control over the ability to be truthful. We, I mean, everybody lies,
Mm-hmm.
and the lies are just. I mean, I don't know if you saw the latest thing, the mainstream media in the US that deliberately again went and kind of took a little piece of something that Donald Trump said
I
and
didn't
twisted
see
that.
it. Okay.
Now, now this is not the first time that I've done it, and I'm sure that I haven't only done it to him. Lots of other people that this happens to as well. It's just things are taken out of context
Yeah.
because they don't allow you to listen to the entire. So if you say three sentences, they will pick the one that suit their agenda.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that is a blatant lie because if you hear the other two sentences, then it has a
The
completely
context
different meaning
changes.
to what
Yeah.
they want you to think. And I just feel that it is so sad that you have to think. It doesn't matter which country you're in, that you have to um, be very skeptical of what anybody in a position of authority says
Yeah.
because they may be lying.
Yep.
Anyway, so
And
that's one of
that's
the reasons why I want to understand people.
okay. I was gonna ask you what. How does that come back to what you still want to learn or understand better?
Yeah, because I think if you can, if you see, I have this feeling that we're hiding behind these failed ideologies because we can't come up with anything better.
Yeah.
So we hide behind democracy is the best form of government because we can't come up with
Yeah.
anything better. We hide behind our elected leaders,
Yeah.
whereas everybody knows that they didn't elect directly, didn't have any freaking influence over who's running the show at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so we can carry on with these kind of failed ideologies that and we see it so clearly around us.
Yeah.
But because we don't have a better plan, um, we just kind of go along with it.
Yeah.
And here we are gearing up for another election. I mean, in the UK, I mean, who voted for Rishi to become prime minister?
I don't, no
Nobody.
one. No one.
Nobody.
We got given
Exactly.
him. Yeah.
Exactly.
Um, I was also watching a bit of Putin's victory speech last night on the news, and it was
I
interesting because
didn't see that.
he was talking about democracy, and I was just thinking, very
Yeah.
democratic. Yep.
And yet, if we have to put him on a scale, in terms of honest leaders, he would he would be in my probably top three to top five.
Yeah. Well, that's one of I was actually quite shocked because he was answering a few questions, and one of them was about some of the like some of the people that are against Russia, the Russians that are against what Russia's doing at the moment,
Hmm.
and he like basically called them cannon fodder, and he's like they're nothing to us. Like he just had no there was no like diplomacy in his response.
Mm.
um, yeah, he just says what he thinks.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's kind of why I
Yeah,
would want to understand people better.
I want to understand who is influencing the way the world works, because there's always got to be like a group of people
Hmm.
or a person who kind of has an idea, and that's trickling down into where we are now. Like,
Do you think
yeah.
that there is an actual plan that is being executed? Because some people think that Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum,
Mm-hmm.
um, and, uh, and certainly those guys have massive influence, you
Influence,
know.
yeah.
Um, but I wonder. I mean, and then you sit with, okay, cool. There's like these. Um, what would be the best way to describe him? The people, the powerful people moving in the shadows.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and who are they? And is it the CIA? Is it the Mossad? Is it the whoever?
Mm-hmm.
Are these guys cooperating and do they have a plan that they busy execute? What are your thoughts on that? Or do you think that there is like I don't know. Let me ask you this. When you say who are the people influencing, do you
Mm-hmm.
think that there's
No, I
a
don't think there's a
organized
greater
group
plan.
or a greater plan?
No,
Or
I don't think there's like a plan. But I
so you don't
think
think,
everyone's working in their self interest and making it look like they're doing things for the good of society or for the good of the world or the good of the planet or
you do sometimes get the idea that these guys are cooperating. Um, so if you take, for example, this scam of ESG, so all these carbon credits and the bullshit that they dreamt up and are pocketing so much money. It's not that somebody is just one individual or one small group has
mm-hmm.
acted in their own interest there. You have to get a lot of buy-in
Mm-hmm.
to get the European Union, and well, the whole of Africa is easy. I mean, you just kind of chuck them a few dollars and they will sign whatever. Um, but it's like all these nations, all these states, all these um, massive businesses, etc., that have to buy into this thing. And now they're selling carbon credits to each other, and it's so. In other words, something like that. I wondered to myself, well, listen, you guys gotta. There must be some cooperation. Let's take, for example, the COVID vaccines.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was like a looked like a very well orchestrated campaign, and not just left up to everybody to make up their own mind and do their own research. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was really shut down on a very high level. All attempts to ask a question about, listen, maybe is this thing going to make somebody fall over and die? And shut up, what do you know? Doesn't matter which country you're in.
Yeah.
That concerns me a little bit, that these are just random actors. I agree with you. I don't think that there's one big
Group or
playbook
yeah.
that they all execute, because you can
Mm-hmm.
just take any government. I mean, they can't get 20 people to agree on anything or execute a plan or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Now kind of take that across languages and cultures and all of these things and so on. It's basically impossible. But there's so much of it happening now. I think we all should. I think more people are scared, or not scared, are concerned at least about what is happening and how we're being lied to
Manipulated.
and manipulated. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so
Anyway,
hard to cut through. So I was also one of the things that I don't know, we're gonna get stuck on this topic, which is maybe not what the questions are, but the I was also watching something on the news. There was a little piece on the royal family drama on BBC News, and they were interviewing royal experts. You know, these people who are
yeah,
royal. I don't know, but you can just tell that they are working for the royal family. The way that they answered certain questions and the way they were skewed, it was just so obvious that it wasn't like a balanced look
mm,
at the situation. It was someone who was in the royal family's pocket that was answering the questions.
yeah,
And I just think that when I'm watching the news, I always wonder what angle they are reporting from, because it's never an unbiased angle, even when the news is supposed to be unbiased.
I think the news is only supposed to be unbiased in our minds.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a hell of a long time since the news was unbiased. Probably at least 50 years.
And I suppose that's why you go to something like X to get your information about certain things, because there you're getting views from all over, from different people with different ideas, and not just from one source, I suppose.
Yeah, so I mean, there's obviously a number of platforms where you can still get a measure of that. Um, X being, for the moment, the one that seems to be uh, the the most honest. But if you think about it, in the days before social media um, and before the internet, all we had was either the print newspapers and television news,
Mm-hmm.
obviously the radio as well. But the certainly in most countries, the television news and the radio news kind of lumped together or kind of like reported the same type of things. And newspapers have been aligned to a political um, orientation for a hell of a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So you either read this newspaper A or newspaper B, depending on your political affiliation or leaning. And only really would you actually get people reading the other version. But
Yeah.
imagine it was so clean. There were no, um, nowadays it's so easy to get the counterpoint out there, but
Mm-hmm.
it is equally easy, and it's getting easier by the day, to also get some to fabricate some lies and bullshit
Yeah.
and get that out there. And once these AI models that can generate video, realistic video, um, once these things are let loose in the wild,
Yeah.
it's going to
They
be,
already exist.
they already
Yeah.
exist.
Yeah.
And somebody made the point the other day that, oh, what we have access to is only the tip of the iceberg
Yeah.
of what is actually out there. Anyway, so it it is obviously something that more and more people are becoming aware of in terms of where do I get good information.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what the answer is. Honestly, don't. But
We've drifted away from legacy here.
yeah,
But I
the
didn't really want to
legacy,
answer any of these questions anyway, because legacy
the
is
leg,
bullshit.
what will be the legacy of the human race? Um, so there's a Roger Waters lyric from, the song is called "Amused to Death." It's worth a listen. Um, so actually, the entire album is worth a listen. But kind of what he says, the thing that made me think about this now is when I spoke about the legacy of the human race. At some point in the song, he goes, it's like, when the alien anthropologists kind of, submitted their report, the only explanation was the species has amused itself to death. And it's, so I mean, this is an album that was, piece of music that was written probably 35 to 40 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like every year it kind of sounds, wow, closer to the truth.
Yeah.
Are we busy freaking amusing ourselves to death? And when we start talking about things like, well, with these AI, the robots are coming to take our jobs, and what are we going to do? Well, we'll get universal basic income, and we'll just sit on the couch and play games.
Yeah.
It's like, hang on, the
Yeah.
species really is going to amuse itself to death.
I saw someone make a commentary the other day about I wish the aliens would invade so that we could all stop fighting over this pointless shit that's meaningless and all have something common
That is
to
true.
to to fight against.
That is true.
Yeah.
I think I think the aliens have been here. They looked they
They've
looked
given
at
up.
this. No, 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 no. Really? Not worth it.
We don't really
Not
want
worth
anything to do with this one.
Yeah. Are there any causes or values that you are willing to fight for?
um Not really a fighter.
Yeah. I was thinking about that in a different context the other day. Is there anything that you are willing to fight for? And I suppose there are things that I'm willing to fight for. But it's hard for me to say before I actually find myself at that junction.
Yeah.
Because I think it's easy to sit here and go, I will fight for, I don't know, uh, the turtles or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
So I do think there are things that I will fight for, um, but I cannot name them because I don't know how I will react when I get to that specific crossroad.
Yeah.
This was a shitty section.
I don't like it at all. I'm hoping the next one will be better. What makes a relationship healthy and so? Oh my goodness, and it's a
But
long one.
haven't we done relationships
We have
before?
done relationships, but this is different.
Oh, okay. This
Oh, it's a
this
bit
one's
boring.
different. Oh yeah, I'm happy if you want to skip to self-awareness and growth.
That sounds far more interesting.
That does sound far more interesting. Excellent. And then wisdom. Hmm. Yeah, because
That
yeah, I'm
wisdom
happy to
section looks exactly the same as the first one that we did.
really. Okay.
But we will. It'll be good to revisit. Maybe we also need to look at your. I've been thinking. At some point.
We can. We can. I'm happy to chat about some of those things because, as you know, I try to keep it very short and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes cryptic.
Thought
And I think
provoking.
in the one that I said this morning, there was probably one or two things that, well, at least it should spark some thinking,
Mm-hmm.
which is obviously the hope and the plan. But
Cool. Until
whenever you want to,
next
yeah.
time,
Okay,
which
thanks.
is going to be, what did we say? Self reflection, self awareness, and growth.
Self-awareness and
That's
growth.
the one. Okay, cool.
I
Thank you,
like it.
Herman.
Thanks.